All in Sports Network. We love sports.
It is Friday, July 25th. Happy birthday, baby girl. My daughter Presley is turning 4 years old today.
Four already.
I have a 4-year-old now, which
For
is
some reason, I would have said 3, and I'm fairly up to date. With everything there.
Four
That was
years
quick.
old. Yeah. So anyway, I got a 4-year-old today, but happy birthday, baby girl. Daddy loves you. But yeah, big news that we have not yet covered, Jake. And that was the 5-star commit running back, Derrek Cooper, to Texas. And I know that happened over this last weekend. We're a little late to the party due to our scheduling conflicts. We didn't necessarily get to do an emergency podcast episode for Derrek Cooper, but big news nonetheless. I mean, he makes it the 5th 5-star for the Texas class. Now, that's the 5th 5-star, depending on which ranking you're looking at. J.J. Johnson, borderline 4-star. Some sites have him as a 4-star. Some sites have him as a 5-star. For the sake of this podcast, we're going to include him as a 5-star and make it 5 stars.
Which means more than likely by the end of the year, he'll be a 5-star on all, as long as he has a good senior year, because you'll have senior tape evaluation. And a lot of these borderline guys typically get bumped up. I mean, On 3, which rivals On 3, they're merged now, has Texas at the number 4 class with 3 5-stars. So it's pretty close. I mean, three 5-stars in the class is really impressive. And what's impressive to me is the average rating of their recruits. And I saw an Aggie trying to dunk on this, saying that they had an advantage in average. I don't know if you saw this on X, everything app, it all happens on
I don't
X.
think I did see this.
I've been doing a good job of not replying to these people, but I couldn't help myself on this one.
In season, it's going to be so much harder. In season, when the play is on the field, it gets so much harder to ignore.
Well, then they go quiet. During season, they go quiet.
That's true. At least 4 times a year, they go really quiet.
But they have a slight advantage in average recruit rankings if you just look at it from a high level view. But then you go into it, and if you take out the long snapper, punter, and kicker from Texas, Texas goes from a 90.44 to, I think it was like a 92.43 or something like that, with a significant advantage over every class in the country, other than the only one who comes close is Oregon and LSU, who are down at 7th and 8th in the overall rankings of the class. So, yeah, the average recruit level of this class is definitely not an issue. You just factor in that you always got to look at the class whenever you're looking at that average. A lot of people like to look at that average rating. It is good to look at because it's like some of those old Texas classes under Herman and Strong, real high, top 10. But then you start looking at it, and it's because you got, a lot of mid to low 4-stars, which are just a much lower hit rate than those high 4-star blue chip level talent. But you got to go in there and be like, are there any punters, kickers, long snappers who are all top 2 in their positions, but going to drag that average rating down because at most they're going to be a 3-star.
Yeah, and there's your TED talk from Jake in terms of how to look at recruiting rankings. But no, Derrek Cooper, 5-star running back. Jake, it feels like this has been maybe the biggest running back commit that Texas has had since Bijan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Cedric Baxter was really big.
Yeah,
he was a consensus 5-star.
Yeah.
Even Christian Clark was a really big get. They've had so many big gets and run. I've seen some people say that, but I think some people are forgetting CJ Baxter was the number 1 recruit, number 1 running back recruit in the country, a consensus 5-star that they just got, was starting as a freshman before Jonathan Brooks took it over. And we all know what Jonathan Brooks did with that. So
that's true.
It's tough to kind of say that to me at this point, when you've gotten this many highly talented dudes. You just have to watch it play out on the field.
And speaking of Bijan, he actually played a pretty big role in recruitment of Cooper leading up to his decision this last weekend. The number 2 running back in the country, number 29 overall player from Fort Lauderdale. But Bijan was able to kind of sit down with him, have a conversation with him before he made his final commitment, kind of went down all the reasons why Texas is a great spot for him to be. And obviously whatever Bijan said, obviously had some sort of impact with Derrek Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, when you got former alumni, especially recent alumni that have worked under the same coaching staff, and Texas hasn't had they have had positional coach turnover, but that's to me is the sign of a good program because they're all moving up.
Yeah,
you got positional coaches taking coordinator positions, some even at Power 4 schools. In a Blake Gideon, who took a defense coordinator position at Georgia Tech. But yeah, I mean, it has to help when you have a Bijan Robinson and you've had, what is it, 5 running backs drafted in the last 2 or 3 years?
5 running backs in the last 3 years. And before Cooper even sets foot on campus, there's a slight possibility. I'm not going to say likely, but there's a possibility that Trey Wisner and CJ Baxter get picked in the next year's draft. It's a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the possibility is there.
Baxter probably less likely, just because he's coming back from injury. Sure. He might not get a full year on tape. He doesn't have that much tape because his freshman year, he was a freshman and Jonathan Brooks kind of took over, didn't get as many carries. And then you have a second season where he never took a snap because he was looking great in camp. And then obviously had the injury that ended his season. And so him probably less likely. I would imagine he's due for another year at Texas. Yeah. And that would be possibly the breakout year where he makes his draft stock go through the roof. But I would be surprised if Wisner doesn't get. The only thing with him is he might not test great. But his film to me will make him a at least a low round draft pick.
Yeah, he'll be mid to low range.
Fifth through seventh at worst.
And we don't know the type of development that he's going to have jumping up this season. I mean, he might be due for a really big year, Jake.
Yeah, Sarkisian was bragging on him at SEC Media Days, kind of just being like, he's forgotten about.
He's the only returning SEC running back with 1,000 yards.
Yeah, Texas for it seemed for a while last year like Texas they're not going to end with 1,000-yard rusher for the first time where Sarkisian is the play caller anywhere. And then Wisner obviously, I mean, just really turned it on at the end of the year and had some. I mean, that A&M game will be one of those legendary performances, just as far as where he's riding the bike at the end and is just I mean, just gassed from how many carries he got. I think even Texas fans sleep on Wisner. It's like, oh, Baxter, Clark, Gibson, all those names kind of get mentioned before Wisner. It's like Wisner might just be the dude.
Yeah.
Come next year once it gets on the field.
And this is another commit, Jake, that's going to just completely just fulfill that running back room. Even say Wisner does go to the draft. Say Baxter has a really good year this year. And Wisner, say, misses 2, 3, 4 games this year with a hamstring. I don't know what that looks like. Baxter takes over and looks really good as the starter. And they both kind of at least put out good enough tape out there that NFL prospects are excited about the potential of where they went. And these NFL running backs or these NFL scouts, they don't want a lot of miles on these guys going into the league. So with that possibility, even if Baxter does return or Wisner return, say both of them return, who knows what the possibility is. You're going to have a running back room next year with 5-star Cooper. You're going to have was Clark a 5-star? Or was he a high 4-star?
I think he was high 4-star, but I think he was a 5-star on a site or two.
Okay. So high 4-star with Clark. You're going to have Jarrett Gibson, who by all means is developing into a pretty solid player that this team really likes and is developing. And then even with the possibility of having a Baxter or a Wisner, possibly both, all in that same running back room. And then not to mention a James Simon or, guys that are within this year's recruiting class as well. Ricky Stewart, who I've heard great things about. So, yeah, Jake, I mean, the running back room, no shortage of talent by any stretch of the imagination. And Derrek Cooper just adds to the star power that is that running back room at Texas. And that draft, that NFL draft, what run on running backs, I guess, doesn't seem to be slowing down by any means. And I think it's official. Can we say this? Texas is RBU.
I mean, most Doak winners as well. There's a history that goes along. It's not even just a recency bias thing. it's not because it's not like, kind of in that bad decade of whereas like Texas DBU when Texas was not DBU during that time period, but it was just like leaning on the history of it. You have a history to lean on with this RBU statement, but you also have a very recent agenda to kind of run on because Alabama would be the other team that you would mention in the same breath. But Alabama is more of a modern century argument, whereas Texas is now putting that modern century argument in to go with, the history that's there, and not even going back that far. Jamal Charles, who had a great NFL career as well.
Priest Holmes, Cedric Benson. I mean, you want to go
Williams.
down. Ricky Williams, obviously, Earl Campbell, obviously, but like
Bijan, an active one.
Yeah. I mean, you can even throw in a Deontay Foreman in terms of college careers. Deontay Foreman, Doak Walker Award winner. So, I mean, you can throw in a lot of different.
Probably would have had a better pro career if he didn't get ran into the dirt.
Yeah, I know.
By the coaching staff.
Yeah. Talking about better pro career, man. Jonathan Brooks, man. I just want him to get healthy at some point. Got to get him healthy and maybe sit out a season or even 2 seasons just to get fully back. But yeah, that's a guy that I feel really bad about how his career has kind of gone, even ever since starting at Texas.
It's gotten to the point where it's hard to imagine him on the football field again, just because of how many of the worst possible injuries you can get that he's gotten in a row.
Yeah. In like a 3-4 year span. I mean, it's not been,
he's never really had a chance in the NFL. As soon as he would finally get on the field, just something happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's one that he may end up always being a what if for his NFL career. But if there's anyone that has the mindset and the ability to come back from what he's been through, Jonathan Brooks is definitely one of those guys.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Jake, you go down the list of running backs. Derek Cooper, he does get comparisons to Bijan, oddly enough. Now, I think that might be kind of a recency, easy to make that comparison because to me, Jake, you know how I feel about Bijan wearing the burnt orange and white. I put him up there as the best talented at running back that Texas has ever had. The best talent. I'm not saying the best running back, but the best talent Texas has ever had at the running back position. I would have loved to see him with 4 full years in a scheme of where he ran about as much as Ricky Williams did or an Earl Campbell and see where his numbers would have gotten him at the end of his career. I bet it would have been pushing Ricky. It would have had to been. But yeah, that's just my take. So whenever anybody even mentions Bijan, I kind of like in one ear, out the other because
you know who Cooper's running style reminds me of? And I have seen this comparison, Darren McFadden.
I love that. I love that.
Very much reminds me of a Darren McFadden. His size, I think, is comparable. And just looking at some of his high school's tape, I saw that comparison, and then I was watching, and I was like, that is the best comparison I've seen because I heard the Bijan one, watched his tape, I was like, I don't see this, and I saw Darren McFadden, I was like, oh, that's a good one. That's what he looks like.
That's probably a better comparison. So for those hearing Bijan, I wouldn't take too much stock in Bijan. Now, if he ends up being similar to a Bijan, by all means, you can call us out on it. But I like the Darren McFadden. I like that, Jake.
He could end up having a Bijan-like career at Texas and still not be Bijan just from style of running. Darren McFadden was incredible in college.
He was a Heisman candidate. Okay. Was that the Toby Gerhart year? Him and was it McFadden? I think McFadden was in there with Tebow.
They're right around the same time. So off the top of my head, I can't remember who was in that Heisman
I think
class.
it was Tebow, Stafford, McCoy was thrown in there, McFadden, Toby Gerhart. It's all those kind of guys within that time frame. So, but that's interesting. Darren
McFadden, and I forgot this. He finished twice as the Heisman runner-up,
back-to-back years runner-up,
and he is one of only 4 players ever to finish twice. It was Troy Smith and Tim Tebow were the winners.
Wow!
In the years.
Smith. Wow.
Yeah, Troy Smith is.
That's a forgotten name.
Well, and I remember when he won the Heisman, I thought Darren McFadden should have won the Heisman that year.
I think a lot of people put that was one of the first years where it was the quarterback for the best team that year because they won a national championship that year. So it was just the quarterback on the best team won the Heisman. And everyone was like, okay, that doesn't really add up because Darren McFadden is the better player.
Yeah, but I mean, the Tebow year made sense, but I remember the Troy Smith year. There's a lot of people out there who thought that it should have been Darren McFadden.
For sure. All right, Jake. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up this episode. And that is going to wrap it up for this week. We'll see you guys Monday for our next upcoming episodes. We're going to start diving in much deeper into the Texas Longhorn football season. Jake, we're within a month, baby. We're in a month. A month from now, we will be sitting on our couches watching college football. And that makes me a very, very happy person.
Yeah, the podcast energy, the juice, the being up to date with stuff will all return to the maximum hype levels.
Yeah.
Once we start getting into fall camp, honestly, and start reading reports, who's looking what position battles are going on, all that's going to be.
And we're already starting to get one of those. So we're already starting to get some of those reports coming out. And so once we get those, anytime we kind of hear about a certain player or start kind of mentions a player and goes into detail with that player, whether they're a freshman, whether they're returning guys, bubble players, whatever it is, we're gonna try to harp in on those reports and talk about it amongst ourselves and kind of get our feelings on it as well. So with that being said, we release these episodes Monday through Friday at 12 noon each and every single one of those days, 5 days a week, for your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns right here on All In Horns. That's Jake Jimerson. I'm Tanner Carlson. As always, ladies and gentlemen, hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.